Hi, it's Annie from Church Electronic, and we're here with Lor2mg.
Hi.
So we're here to talk about your new album and your old albums and your music. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about how your sound has evolved kind of since your inception, with the new album being a little bit more instrumentation heavy.
Yes.
And it used to be a little bit more, people would label you hyper pop.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to see like the thought behind and kind of like your transition into the sound that you have now.
I started with black metal music for a long time, and I was a guitarist in a band. And then it just moved into, I really wanted to do the electronic stuff because the production side is so fun to me. But then it's like, I went back to the instrumentals, I guess, because it's just, it feels better, more natural to play that stuff to me, I guess. And I love the heavier sounds of it, that you can kind of mix every genre with like shoegaze and screamo and all of that.
A lot of your music has a lot of like emotion to it, or like affect.
Yeah.
And when I think of affect, I think of like, like when you smell like pumpkin spice and you immediately think of like an October morning, you
Exactly.
know? And I'm wondering kind of like what the affect is for the most recent album as opposed to like the last two.
Total sadness, I guess. I was in a really hard place, and I really wanted to embody like, I guess, giving up and like letting go of that sadness as well, and not letting it affect you, because at the end of the album it all kind of comes back to you, and it's like, yeah, I might not want to exist all the time, but I'm still here, and that's all I can see. I really like to create storytelling atmospheres for people to be able to do that, like pumpkin spice thing, where you can just immediately know what's going on and know the feeling you're supposed to have. I'm really inspired by film, so the film Lily Chocho, all about Lily Chocho, inspired a lot of the imagery behind Dedication as well.
What kind of like music were you listening to when you were also creating? Do you listen to other people's music when you're creating?
All the time.
Or is it kind of like in a siloed thing?
Dedication was like heavily inspired by Julie. I love their last album. I forget the name of it, but like the song Feminine Adornments. The bass line on it, Alex, the bassist on that band, she's killer. And so I really was, honestly, it was just that. It was just Julie. I listened to that for like 2 months straight. And I was listening to Cold Visions by Blade, which kind of like also gave a lot of the emotional lyrics a lot of inspiration in there.
Have you read the like Blade interview where they like fly out and they like talk about the creation of Cold Visions with him?
No.
He's like, I was completely isolated. Like it was like an extremely emotionally intense album for him to make.
I mean, I felt that when I first listened to it, I didn't like it because it was so emotional, and I felt like it was like, I was like, damn, he's kind of being too, like, what's the word? Real, I guess. You know, he's being like, I don't like people. It's like, I feel that way too, bro. But then it started to grow on me when I started feeling kind of the same way he was. And then I'm like, oh, I get what you're saying now.
Were you in Santa Barbara when you were making all of this music?
Yeah, I just make it in my apartment. I play every instrument that's on every album and stuff. And I just spend like 12 hours mixing everything. But I made Dedication in a week and a half, I think. One of the songs on there, Eroded, I made in literally 30 minutes. And I was like, that was my favorite song too, but I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did I do that? I don't know.
Did you feel like Grimes when she like locked herself in her room and it was like a week long or a month long?
I think about that every time. Yes, I think about that all the time when I'm doing my stuff. I'm like, Grimes did this too, so it's okay that I'm doing it.
That's how I feel. Do you feel like there was like a big contrast between like the sunny Santa Barbara weather and like the way that you were feeling and when you were making this like emotionally laborious music?
All the time. Sometimes Santa Barbara's not exactly my vibe because everything there feels so happy. Like wine moms are walking everywhere and like fucking like frat people, sorority people, which is fine, but I'm just like not like
You're saying
that.
This out of Frat. You can't you can't diss the frat's name.
No shade. It's just like, I'm not that person. That is a lot of the feeling in Dedication too, is just like not feeling like I belong anywhere I go.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry to be emo.
I don't think so. I think that's what makes people connect to your music a lot, especially because you kind of have this like niche in the internet, and like people kind of talk about like, you know, you scroll on Twitter and your name where people are like, I love you, Laura. Like it's such a specific thing, and I think that it started a little bit like in 2020 COVID-ish, like where like, you know, people were like online all the time and they were like obsessed with like hyper pop and things like that, and like really experimental music. And I'm wondering as you've kind of like evolved and started playing to people, have you seen kind of like a shift in like your audience at all?
Oh yeah, it used to be, well, because I started with like, honestly, dancing on TikTok. I danced to some Playboi Carti song.
Yeah.
And I blew up. And then I started kind of like being like, oh, I can use this for my music. And that's kind of how, so it went from like a teenage boy fan base, kind of incelly, to now it's actually like, at my latest shows, especially because I talk about being a disabled person, I have so many disabled women and so many women just like coming up to me all the time being like you're doing that shit. And I'm like, yes, we're gonna do this shit all together, you know? And so I've definitely noticed a more mature audience starting to kind of gravitate towards me, especially with like dedication, Sunny Paws and stuff. I think that kind of gets the older people into me.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like, does it scare you a little bit as an artist kind of not being able to have control over how people perceive you online? Or like, is that beneficial to you at all?
If that scared me, I wouldn't be the way I am online.
Yeah.
I'm filterless because I think that like, if you like me, you should just know what's up. And like, I'm not gonna like be out here like, oh, I'm mysterious, you don't know anything about me. It's like, just know who I am. Let's be friends. And I love going to shows because I just go in the crowd and I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's how I am online. That's how I am in real life.
See, that's really nice to be true to yourself as an artist, like in person and online.
I'm scared that I'm going to lose that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm scared that I will lose that at some point because sometimes it does get overwhelming. Like the San Francisco show I played, after the show, it was like everyone's hoarding you, like, oh, you know,
we love you.
Yeah, and it's intense because like, I love y'all too. Thank you for making my life possible, but also like, chill out for a second. I need to put my shit away. It's nice though, but it's embarrassing, you know?
Do you have any like embarrassing memories, like most embarrassing thing that you could think of that you're willing to share on camera?
Okay, well, with the music stuff, at the Santa Cruz show, this guy came up to me and handed me like a Silly Band bracelet with his number on it. Mm-hmm. And I like was just like, ew. And then all of his, I didn't mean to, it just like came out because I was like, what the fuck? Like, who are you? You got X's on your hands. You're definitely not over, you know.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
You're not over 18.
That's what I'm saying. Legal. I'm like, you gotta step away from me, bro. And all of his friends were like, oh. And I don't know, that was kind of embarrassing because secondhand embarrassment, I guess. That's the worst thing that's happened so far.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's, you know,
I guess.
That's pretty tame.
I don't get embarrassed easily. I don't know. I mess up all the time on stage.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I guess I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit more about kind of like your future and your past and where they kind of intersect with your music. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering like, where do you land and like what about your past kind of like brings you here and what are you excited about in the future?
I spent 7 years in isolation. Mm-hmm. Never went outside. Mm-hmm. I was bedridden. Mm-hmm. There were like 2 weeks where like I couldn't take a shower and I'd like crawl to the shower because like I have a severe disability. Only in October of this last year was I able to actually start going outside and actually play shows and do everything. So a lot of my music in the past, and since I was a kid too, has been this emotional, like isolated sadness, and now it's starting to grow into like, I'm very happy now, and I'm living my life now, and I never thought I would live my life again. Mm-hmm. Genuinely, I really did give up, and I never thought I'd walk again. I never thought I'd take car rides and go road trips. So it's pretty crazy to me to get to do all of this, and my future with it is just going into positivity.
Yeah.
I really want people like me to see that we can do it, and you don't have to give up, and yeah,
that's really beautiful, and it's really nice to be able to like hear people speak publicly about that kind of thing. Also, especially when you look to a musician, you're kind of like, you see them almost as like not like a real person. Like obviously the way that I'm interacting with you now, even beforehand, like you were the same as a fictional character to me. Like and like that's how you are. That's how everybody is with somebody when they see them online. It's nice to like kind of be able to repair that even in the smallest bit, I suppose.
I mean, I feel that way. The last band I played with, Kitty Craft, she totally inspired like almost everything on my album, Sunny Paws. And meeting her, it was hard to drop that idolism because I'm just like, oh, I love you so much, you know. And I remember she, on the last day we played together, she knew my favorite song, she played it. I was like in the audience sobbing, and I ran up and hugged her. And it's hard to drop that idolization, but when you do recognize them as a real person, it's nice to be able to be like, you're an idol and you're also my friend. Or just like a person that I can like respect as a human.
Yeah, you're kind of like equivocating into like marrying them together.
Exactly.
It's
such a good feeling.
I guess the kind of like the last question, I always ask this to people when I'm interviewing them, but like, where do you think good music comes from in your body?
Here, the chest. Totally the chest, because I always feel it there, I guess. Like if I hear a really good song, it's almost like you go to church as a kid or anything, like when you're worshiping God, or when they're just like, and you can feel that. And they say that it's like the spirit, but it's like, no, that's music. And that's it speaking to your heart, like quite literally. Because songs can like make you feel that heartbreak, and it can also make you feel like elevated joy.
Let's go to church.
Let's go to church.